Eco Enzyme.
大家对细菌是不是很怕？
Biasanya kita takut nggak kalau dengar kuman, virus?
我们一谈到细菌，我们就觉得它是坏蛋。
Seringkali kita dengar tentang kuman, bakteri, lalu kita bilang itu jahat.
但是其实很多的发酵食品里面全部都是由益生菌来工作的。
Sesungguhnya banyak sekali makanan-makanan yang bagus yang mengalami fermentasi itu dibantu oleh malaikat kecil yang disebut probiotik ini.
就最简单的就是你们常喝的那个 yogurt，
Yang sering orang minum minuman yogurt.
有没有吃 yogurt 啊？
Ada suka minum?
对，它也是细菌的产物。
Itu juga adalah hasil produksi dari probiotik.
那我们现在来看看，在发酵过程中，以生物化学的方式将糖和果皮中的养分转化成为酒精，然后醋酸，然后再来是酵素等等的发酵物质。
Kita akan lihat proses dan mekanisme kerjanya makhluk-makhluk yang kecil ini, mikroba yang kecil ini, sampai menghasilkan alkohol, sampai menghasilkan asam dan sebagainya.
我接下来给大家播一个影片，这个影片主要的就是告诉我们，细菌和酵母菌还有霉菌，它们是如何在我们食物中产生发酵，然后让我们的食物可以成为更美味的。
Kita akan lihat 3 jenis mikroba melalui video berikut ini, dan 3 jenis ini dia bisa membantu makanan kita lebih indah, lebih lezat.
那在这里呢，酒精是怎么形成的，醋酸是怎么形成的，酵素是怎么形成的，都会在这里会谈到。
Asam cuka bagaimana terbentuk, alkohol bagaimana terbentuk, enzim bagaimana terbentuk, di film ini ada.
好，那这个影片是英文的，然后有华文字幕。
Audio Inggris, subtitle Mandarin.
好。
Swiss cheese is holes, and what makes vinegar so sour? These foods may taste completely different, but all of these phenomena come from tiny organisms chowing down on sugar and belching up some culinary byproducts. Let's start with yeast. Yeast are single-celled fungi used to make bread, beer, and wine, among other products. Yeast break down carbohydrates like sugar to get energy and the molecules they need to function. They have 2 different ways to do this: the oxygen-dependent or aerobic pathway and the oxygen-independent anaerobic pathway, which is also called fermentation. When you bake bread, yeast can use both pathways, but they normally prefer to start with the anaerobic process of fermentation. In this process, ethanol is produced in addition to CO2. No bread isn't alcoholic. Small amounts of alcohol that are secreted evaporate during baking. In the aerobic or oxygen-dependent pathway, the yeast consumes some of the sugar and produce carbon dioxide gas, or CO2, and water. In both processes, the CO2 accumulates and creates tiny bubbles. These bubbles get trapped by gluten and create a sponge-like structure that gives the bread its soft texture. Wine also relies on yeast, but a wine-making setup keeps the oxygen levels low, so that yeast consumes sugar using fermentation, the anaerobic pathway. The process often starts with wild yeasts already hanging out on the grapes. But to get consistent results, most winemakers also add carefully selected strains of yeast that can tolerate high levels of alcohol. The yeast consume the sugar in the grape juice, and as the sugar level drops, the alcohol level rises. This doesn't necessarily mean that sweeter wines have less alcohol. Different types of grapes start with different amounts of sugar, and sugar can also be added. What happens to the carbon dioxide? It just bubbles away through a vent. In carbonated alcoholic beverages like champagne and beer, sealed containers are used in primary or secondary fermentation to keep the carbon dioxide in the bottle. Wine also introduces us to our second type of food-producing microorganism, bacteria. A special strain of bacteria turns a tart compound in grape juice into softer tasting ones that are responsible for some of the flavors in red wines and Chardonnays. Another type of bacteria, called acetic acid bacteria, isn't so desirable in wine, but they have their function too. If there's oxygen around, these bacteria convert the ethanol in wine into, well, acetic acid. Let this process continue, and you'll eventually get vinegar. Bacteria are the key for cheese, too. To make cheese, milk is inoculated with bacteria. The bacteria gobble up the lactose, a kind of sugar, and produce lactic acid, along with many other chemicals. As the milk gets more and more acidic, its proteins start to aggregate and curdle. That's why spoiled milk is clumpy. Cheesemakers usually add an enzyme called rennet, naturally found inside of cows, goats, and some other mammals, to help this process along. Eventually, those little kernels turn into bigger curds, which are pressed to squeeze out the water and create a firm cheese. Different strains of bacteria make different kinds of cheese. For example, a species of bacteria that emits carbon dioxide is what gives Swiss cheese its characteristic holes. Some cheeses, Brie and Camembert, use another kind of microorganism too, mold. So your kitchen functions as a sort of biotechnology lab, manned by microorganisms that culture your cuisine. Yogurt, soy sauce, sour cream, sauerkraut, kefir, kimchi, kombucha, cheddar, challah, pita, and naan. But maybe not all at the same dinner.
好，那大家看了这个介绍。